My name is Sean Foley, and thank you for joining this webinar on selecting and working with contractors. Finding a contractor can be difficult for many people. People who are not computer savvy or have no computer, people who no longer have a phone book, and people with no prior experience with hiring contractors. Unfortunately, vulnerable population groups often get taken advantage of after a disaster. So you may have to do some sleuthing, or some investigating. If you've been satisfied with the work done before by a contractor, use that firm, use that contractor. If you've never hired a contractor before, or if you were unhappy with the previous experience, you may have to, do some more investigating. You can find a contractor a lot of times by checking with the Chamber of Commerce, local government officials. You can go online, use the yellow pages. You can check the big box stores at the contractor desks. A lot of times they compile a list of contractors, and some of the big box stores even have their own contractors who do some work. You can also drive around your community and search for contractors who are working. Ask the homeowner if they're satisfied with the work being done, and if they are, go ahead and ask that contractor to come to your house and give you an estimate. If you can't drive or don't have a car, ask a relative, friend, or neighbor to drive you around. FEMA doesn't compile any lists for contractors, but you might be able to get some monetary assistance from FEMA by calling 1-800-621-3362 and filing for assistance. Once again, that is 1-800-621-3362. 62. Investigate. Check on the firm's reputation. You can ask the Better Business Bureau or Home Builders Association if they've had any unanswered complaints filed against this contractor. You want to check on insurance. The contractor should have proof of insurance, and this should include a completion bond. The completion bond should be good for a year, and you want to make sure that they have that because, a roofer will work on a sunny day, and he might be gone 2 months later when it starts to really rain hard and you realize that you've got a leak. So that's what the completion bond is for. Also, you don't want somebody falling off your roof and breaking their neck or breaking their back and finding out at that point that the contractor did not have any insurance. And guess what? They're filing a lawsuit against you and liability on your homeowner's policy. So, make sure that they have insurance. Ask for references. Any reputable contractor would be willing to provide references to their customers. Contact some of the references and ask them if they would ever hire that contractor again. If the contractor is not willing to provide you references, get it out of the contractor. Get it in writing. No matter how much you trust a contractor or, have used them before, get it in writing, and it should include everything you expect that contractor to do. Always get multiple estimates. 2 estimates is a minimum of what you should do. Some contractors, like heating, ventilation, and cooling, always charge a fee for their estimates. And you may have to hire 2 or 3 different contractors. Usually roofers only do roofing. Mold remediation companies only do mold remediation. Not a lot, but some drywall contractors don't paint. So make sure that, what you got in your estimate is what you expect them to do, because you don't want to have the drywall contractor walk out and you're expecting them to do the painting and you don't have any money left to hire a painter. So make sure everything is in the contract. The contract should state clearly all the work, the cost, and the amount of time that it's going to take to complete the work, and any payment schedules. A lot of contractors, when these disasters, they'll sign up 20 or 30 different people. They'll come to the Smiths on Monday. They come to the Joneses on Tuesday. They show up at your house on Wednesday, and then you don't see them again for 8 to 10 days. So a job that should take a matter of weeks ends up taking months. So don't fall into that trap. Make sure that it's stated clearly how long it'll take to complete the work. Once you've got that contract, you should send a copy of that to your insurance adjuster for approval before you sign it. Otherwise, you might end up paying out of pocket for some of the costs if the adjuster's not willing to pay that price. And you want to go ahead and call for a building permit and price it. Because a lot of contractors charge $600, $700, $800 to get you a building permit that may only cost $100 or $200. So you don't want to fall into that trap either. And you never want to sign a blank contract or any contract that has blank spaces. It also might be worthwhile to have an attorney look over this contract if you're talking about a lot of money. Ask for guarantees. If, say, for instance, the contractor says you've got 25 or 30-year guaranteed shingles, you want to see a copy of that guarantee in writing and who it's from. Is it from the manufacturer? Is it from the dealer? So, you want to have that spelled out and written out, because 25 years, 30 years later, where are you going to find that contractor if you need him if the shingles start wearing out before the guarantee is up? And then get the final contract. The final contract is binding on both you and the contractor. It protects you, but it also protects the contractor. And like we said before, you want to get a building permit. Take the contract to code enforcement or your local building official to obtain a building permit. You can have the contractor get it for you, but make sure that you know how much it is before he purchases it. So protect yourself. A building permit is usually not required to remove the drywall, etc., or do mold remediation, but it's always a good idea to check with the permitting office to make sure what is required and what isn't. Building codes are a minimum requirement. You can go beyond them. Elevating the home is always the best mitigation strategy. There are other things you can do, like adding brackets and braces, which is what's called a continuous load path, to make your building stronger and safer. This connects the trusses to the studs and the baseboards. This is a picture of a 2-level home. You can see the brackets here and the braces. Make sure the job is complete. Don't sign completion papers until you're satisfied with the work. Or when you get the building permit, you want to see if they're going to need to do a local building inspection after the job is started. If they're inspecting the electrical, don't let the contractor put up the drywall before you have the inspection, because you'll have to tear down the drywall to inspect. Beware of disreputable business activities. There's a lot of scams going on a lot of times after disasters, so don't get taken. Beware of the special deal. A lot of times the special deal might not be so special. It's just a sales pitch or a gimmick. So get a second estimate. You don't want to fall for the high pressure sales pitch. Federal law requires a 3-day cooling off period for unsolicited door-to-door sales of more than $25. If you choose to cancel such a contract within 3 business days of signing it, you have to send your cancellation by registered mail. So don't wait till the last second to try to get out of that deal. You never want to pay with cash. You always want to make sure you use a check or money order because that gives you something to fall back on. You don't want to have the contractor say, hey, you owed me $1,500, and you say, I paid you $1,500, and have him say, no, you only gave me $500. I saw a lady one time, she gave a contractor $2,800, and she says, oh, he seemed like such a nice young man. Well, that nice young man, it was only three blocks away to the Home Depot, and he took the money and never came back. So you always want to make sure you get their address, phone number, and telephone number, because if they're not going to answer the phone before you sign the contract, they're probably not going to answer the phone if you have a problem down the road. So protect yourself that way. Drive to that address, say about 8 o'clock at night, and see if their truck is parked there. See if that's actually where it's at. In this case, this lady should have probably taken a picture or wrote down that contractor's license plate number, and then she could have gone to the police and possibly got, her money back, or, filed a complaint against him. A reasonable down payment is 30% of the total project cost. Typically, most contractors don't even require a down payment because they've got their own expense account at the box stores, and all they have to do is go there, and they get billed monthly by the box stores, so they just go in there and get what they need and get started. They're going to wait. They probably want a payment schedule, or they probably have crews, and they might want paid every Friday or every other Friday. So make sure you work all that out in the contract. If you get a contractor who wants 50 to 75% down or something outrageous like that, walk away, because there's a good chance even if you pay by check or money order, they're going to run right to your bank and cash that check, and you're never going to see them again. And like we said, you should talk to your building inspector or code enforcement to see if they're going to have to check on any hidden work, any sewers, any electrical that needs to be looked at before you hang the drywall. So make sure that that's taken care of, and they come in and do their inspection prior to hanging the drywall, or if they need to inspect afterwards, make sure that you understand all that needs to happen there. If you feel like you've been a victim of fraud, this is the fraud hotline. Complaints can also be made to local law enforcement, the Better Business Bureau, and the Chamber of Commerce. If you feel like you've been treated unfairly, just don't pay the contractor. Take pictures of the work if the work is incomplete. That way, if he takes you to the magistrate or takes you to court, you have evidence of what was done. Make sure if you do hire another contractor to come in and finish the work, make sure you take lots of pictures. And you may have to, talk to that next contractor and say, you want him to stand up with you in court. And that concludes this webinar on hiring and working with contractors. For more information on this topic or any others, reducing your risk from a disaster, please contact us at the Mitigation Community Education and Outreach phone bank, which is 1-833-FEMA-4US, which is 833-336-2487. Or you can email us at fema.lamit@fema.dhs.gov. Once again, thank you for attending and listening to this webinar.